Welcome to our very first virtual event. So if this is your first time joining us, welcome. And we're very excited to try this new presentation format. We want to be able to continue sharing our local history with the community during the pandemic, and this was the best way that we could do it right now. Right now, we have moved all of our programming to the virtual landscape, just so that everybody's as safe as possible. When we're able to, when it's safe for everybody, we will go back to in-person programming and events. For now, everything from now for the future will be virtual. Like usual, we will have our monthly open house on the second Sunday of every month. We'll have a virtual presentation of some sort. Like today, we'll be having a presentation from Rob Gregory. We usually have our open house with all of our classic cars at the museum. Hopefully we'll be able to do that next year in August. Let's see, as always, please visit our website and our social media accounts on Facebook and Instagram for updates. All of the meeting,
please close the door.
The meeting links and everything will be posted on our website and on our social media accounts. So before we start, let's hear a few words from our president, Gina Gregory.
Hi, Corey and everybody. Welcome. I am the president of the Greater West Bloomfield Historical Society. And in case you don't know much about us, let me tell you a few things. This is our 46th year as a nonprofit organization, and our mission is to collect, preserve, and share, and stimulate interest in the history of Keego Harbor, Sylvan Lake, Orchard Lake, and West Bloomfield. Through our efforts, Apple Island was listed in the National Register of Historic Places in 2018. The Society provides many benefits to the community. As you know, we are doing our open houses now virtually. We'll be having speaker presentations, also going virtually through West Bloomfield Parks, e-blast, social media, communication, and YouTube videos. Our other projects are on hold because of the COVID restrictions, and those are private group tours and West Bloomfield second grade student visits to Apple Island and the museum, research opportunities, and our annual public Apple Island Tours event, our signature event highlighting our unique Apple Island history. All of this adds value to the community, and we hope you visit our website, gwbhs.org, to learn more about history, sign up for e-blasts, and become a member. You can also follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Next Tuesday, join us at 7 p.m. With the West Bloomfield Parks for the Great Black Women of Detroit presentation by Jamon Jordan of Black Scroll Network. He's an excellent speaker, and we're looking forward to his engaging conversation. Thank you for supporting local history, and now back to you, Corey.
All right, so before we begin our presentation, I'd just like to mention a few things. If you haven't noticed already, everybody's video and audio have been muted, and our presentation today will be recorded for archival purposes. So if you guys have any questions or comments during the presentation, you can use the chat function on the bottom of the screen, just like I used to make sure that we could all hear and see, or you guys could all hear and see us. So if you have a question or a comment at any time, just go ahead and post it there. And at the end, I'll read those questions and comments to Rob, the speaker, to hopefully get some answers and get a little bit of conversation going. All right, so I'd like to welcome our speaker, local historian Rob Gregory, to this virtual event. He's going to be giving a presentation on Walter Flanders. Rob, welcome. If you would, please tell us just a little bit about yourself before you begin your presentation.
I've recently been promoted to local historian. That's news. And we're coming to you from beautiful lowlands of Pleasant Lake Highlands.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, to start, I was born and raised in Detroit. When my cohorts and I grew up and went off to college, we congregated with Guys from outstate and other states. We talked of our interests and our passions as young guys do. After a while, an observation started coming back. Hey, you guys from Detroit, you're motor nuts. And I couldn't deny it, but I started to increase my efforts as to why this should be the case. With Detroit being the birthplace of the automobile industry, it must have gotten into our blood. The close proximity of coal, limestone, and iron ore helped, as did the Great Lakes and the Detroit River. Then there were the familiar names of entrepreneurs that made it happen. Men like Ford, Durant, Sloan, the Dodge brothers, and Chrysler. But a name you don't hear much is that of Walter Flanders, sometimes called Mr. Big, for his booming voice, larger-than-life personality, and all the contributions he made to the early industry. Though Flanders was a key part of early automotive history, he is relatively unknown today because he died young. To make the history books prominently, one must be around to prompt the media. Otherwise, the task is left to your local historical society. Flanders came out of Rutland, Vermont, and apprenticed at the Singer Manufacturing Company, and was later a machine salesman in this region. By 1905, he realized enough was going on in Detroit that a protracted effort could be fruitful, and he landed a contract with Ford for 500 crankcases. He was 34 years old. The prompt delivery of this large order brought him into Henry's orbit, and he became Ford's first production manager in 1906. Conflicts between the two were a problem. Ford was slate thin. Flanders was rather corpulent. Ford frowned on alcohol, big time. Flanders drank every night, but never missed a wake-up call. He was never late for work. He instituted cost accounting. His analysis revealed that the Model N was losing $12 a car. He established monthly production schedules where suppliers carried the inventory. Then in 1908, just before the Model T was released, Flanders left Ford and teamed up with Barney Everett, who had money from a successful bodybuilding business supplying Oldsmobile, and William Metzger, who was Cadillac's first sales manager. Together, they formed the EMF Company, Everett, Metzger, and Flanders, later known as the Big Three. EMF set up across the street from Ford on Piquette Avenue. The buildings looked identical. Before long, EMF was running number 2 behind Ford. The plant is now a museum and located at the corner of Piquette and Beaubien, 2 blocks north of I-94 and 3 blocks east of Woodward. 2 years later, in 1910, Studebaker wanted into the car business and volunteered to be the EMF distributor west of the Mississippi, and the deal was done. Studebaker was the largest wagon maker in the country and had been around since before the Civil War with a reputation of integrity. But they came up with an underhanded deal. They would place large volumes of orders, and then after EMF bought the inventory on credit, Studebaker pulled the orders, leaving EMF with big debt and not enough income to cover it. Studebaker then offered to help them out and buy EMF for a song. Flanders quickly sent telegrams to potential dealers west of the Mississippi. They came flooding to Detroit. The situation developed a different complexion. Lawsuits and J.P. Morgan were involved, and EMF looked more viable with potential west of the Mississippi dealers. Presto changeo, Studebaker generated a better offer. EMF took the deal, and Everett, Metzger, and Flanders became instant millionaires. EMF had 2 models, the 30 and the 20, 30 horsepower, 20 horsepower. For a while after the sale, Flanders kept the 20, rebadged as a Flanders. Our local Dr. William Spencer, a great-grandson of Flanders, brought his Flanders 20 runabout to our 2014 anniversary open house. In 1911, Flanders took some of his profits and built a grand country mansion on Green Lake here in West Bloomfield in the arts and crafts style. The artist's rendering illustrates the home's unique qualities. A living room has a massive fireplace and a large bay window area nearby. It's an attractive home. To achieve this, he went big and bought the 999 acres around Green Lake and named the smaller lake behind the house Flanders Lake. After all, he was Mr. Big, which you can see on the map today, right in front of you. He later expanded it to 1,200 acres, and the estate includes an immense greenhouse where farm barns, stables, an indoor riding ring, vast orchards, and a toboggan slide that towered 80 feet above the lake. As many as 400 people worked this hobby farm. He had the finest Holstein cattle, thousands of chickens, and a huge dovecote housing hundreds of exotic birds imported from foreign countries. He also had a garage, and it's an amazing garage. The garage had 3 stories. The ground floor had a turntable so the driver didn't have to back out, a 2-lane bowling alley, and a billiard room. This was quite the entertainment center. The second floor was used for parties with a big dance floor, huge cobblestone fireplace, and kitchen facilities. The third floor was a wraparound balcony with a view of the festivities below. The interior had log walls for a grand lodge look, so popular back then. Flanders had 1 or 2 country parties each year, inviting friends and locals. Flanders would wear overalls. His wife would wear the equivalent country look. The garage is now the Green Lake Neighborhood Association clubhouse, which they purchased in 1949. In 2008, we attended a gathering of the Flanders Club members celebrating the EMF 100th anniversary at the Green Lake home. It was impressive. Let's step back and look at what we have here. The start of modern times. About 1905, as Flanders gets his teeth into the business, automakers were realizing that we can sell everything we can make. How fast can we make the stuff? It is widely known that before he left Ford, Flanders set up the machines in the order that they were used, among other efficiencies, precursors to the assembly line. About the same time, Ford's William Klein visited slaughterhouses in Chicago and watched pigs being systematically disassembled. This was the aha moment. Run this process in reverse with car parts instead of pig parts, and we'll all get rich quick. Ford selected Clarence Avery, Charles Sorensen, and Peter Martin to institute the system. They asked, well, who's in charge? Ford just said, go out and make it happen. Here, 100 years later, virtually everything we have comes off an assembly line. If it didn't, it would cost 10, 20, 50 times as much. It all started just 30 miles from here. These are the guys that made it happen, and Flanders was in at the beginning. But how much of a role did he play? Several lesser-known sources state that Flanders was responsible for the assembly line. Eddie Rickenbacker, the World War I flying ace, and later a car company owner himself, declared in his book, Edward Rickenbacker, an autobiography, that Flanders was a production genius. It was he who actually was responsible for the Ford assembly line. Wayne Luchuk, in his essay, Fordism and the Moving Assembly Line, asserts that the first real breakthrough in flow production in the assembly department came not at Ford, but at the neighboring EMF company. In 1911, a mechanized assembly line was installed, which boosted the EMF company's chassis production to 100 a day. Let's focus on that time in 1911, when Ford and EMF were right across Pickett Avenue from each other. These seminal production ideas must have been in the air. Who actually put them into production first? Maybe we'll never know, but it seems that Flanders was short-shifted. We at the GWBHS would like to see him get his due, which is more than the history books have given him. There were more acts and marriages in Flanders' life, 5 marriages. He was a wizard with machines. I sensed that he was the Toyota of his day. He really knew how to run a factory. He reorganized the Maxwell Car Company and even made motorcycles in a vacant plant he picked up in Chelsea. As we say in the business, parts is parts. You just have to find a place to put them together. We don't know why, but Flanders left his hobby farm here and set up another in Virginia and did it all again. In 1923, while a friend was driving with Flanders as a passenger in his own car, he missed a curve and rolled the vehicle. Flanders suffered broken bones and internal injuries. He died 3 days later in Newport News at age 52. He is buried in Williamsburg. It wasn't until 1994 that he was inducted into the Automotive Hall of Fame. And to show just how wrong history can be, until recently, the Green Lake House had a plaque with the story of Flanders' death locally at Middleville and Orchard Lake Road. Go figure. At this point, we can open it up to any questions that you folks may have out there in TV land, computer land. Where are we? Phones, smartphones.
Virtual land.
So I'm looking at the chat here, and it doesn't look like anybody had any questions yet. But if anybody does have any questions, you can go ahead and
put it
ask.
Rob has.
We can show you some of our ancillary pictures.
Oh yeah.
This is plant number 3 that you're looking at Jefferson and Clark. I just can't see that this plant would be that big, and there's nothing left of it today. But until recently, that Pickett plant that they had was still in existence, until about 10 years ago. It burned down. What else?
Here's another bit.
Oh, yep, this shows the location. You can orient to the new center. It's very close to that. Beaubien and Pickett. And I do recommend anybody could go down there to the museum. They have one of those Model Ns, looks better than new, and a number of others, Fords, and they have EMFs too.
And now you can take.
And you can take the virtual tour following the prompt on the screen.
And here's our last one.
That's Dr. William Spencer at our 2014 open house with his Flanders 20 runabout. I think that Flanders badged cars just for the 1912 year. And then he was off. He reorganized Maxwell, did I say that already? And built motorcycles.
All right.
And you can read that one. Just, he became president.
Yeah, reorganizing Maxwell, he became president, and that was in 1913, and prompted that car company, the Maxwells, to become 5th place in auto production in 1915. Walter Flanders found a way to make machines work, a knack for mechanics and a youthful apprenticeship at a sewing machine company helped Flanders learn his way around machinery and prove himself useful to auto pioneer Henry Ford. To build an affordable car, Flanders needed to increase production and reduce per unit costs. Ford did, hired Walter Flanders as production manager in 1906, promising him $20,000 bonus if he could produce 10,000 cars a year. Flanders made better use of machines and developed a more reliable, logical flow of parts involving improving worker efficiency. 2 days before the end of the year, the deadline, the 10,000th car rolled out the door. When some Flanders managers complained that he had spent too much money retooling, Flanders, Mr. Big, responded, "I don't come to save pennies. I came to make dollars." He followed that philosophy successfully with 3 other automobile companies.
So Rob, we did have a question about the greenhouse. So you said that the garage was the Green Lake Association's clubhouse, right? Is the greenhouse still on the property?
No, it's not, but the foundation of it is. The top of the concrete footer wall is there now. You can see just how big it was. Anybody can drive up there and tour. You can tour the house too, but there's a lot of sad-looking old folks in there now.
Oh, it's a senior living facility now, isn't it?
It's a nursing home.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the historical markers on the property.
Yep, nice historical marker.
Yeah. So I know Flanders, we did have another question about Flanders and Tucker. So Flanders is early 20th century and Tucker was like mid 20th century, right?
Tucker was post-war.
Yeah.
That was a different story.
Okay, so they wouldn't
And
have overlapped.
They only made 37 cars.
Yeah.
And they didn't, actually, I have a little story I could run with that. After it was, before the Tucker, that was I can't remember what that plant was used before Tucker bought it. But when it went out of business, Ford bought it and built aircraft engines there. And my father was transferred from Detroit to Chicago for a few years to do that. And I had him over toward the end of his life, and I had the tape of the movie Tucker. And I said, "You want to stick around and see this?" He says, No. Hey, but you remember that place I worked in Chicago? I said, "Yeah, I went there once as a little kid." And he says, "The Tucker cars were still there when we moved in, and they had to be pushed out. They didn't run."
Let's see. So the house, the garage, and that historical marker, that's up north of Green Lake, right?
Yep, on the North Shore.
Okay.
Alden Road, I think.
Yeah. So if anybody wanted to go visit that or take a drive up there, I posted the address to it in the chat. So you might be able to, those of us that are local.
And so when you're standing on the property of the house, say behind the garage, you'll look down and see the Flanders Lake. It's not very large, looks pretty marshy these days, but that's what it is. That's Flanders Lake.
More of a pond.
Yeah.
But the whole place is really nice.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, if someplace is called Villa at Green Lake Estates, I would have assumed that it was, nice.
Yeah, well, it is.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's just for those that are it's just I guess, let me see, northeast of West Acres. That's how I find my points. I find the library and then I go from there.
Just south of Cooley Lake Road.
Yeah.
And that garage is still there, and it's the clubhouse for locals.
Yeah.
We have been to a party there. It's as nice as I made it sound.
Yeah.
If not better.
Yeah. It turns out Clayton went to a grad party, or he went to a grad party there. And so yeah, we're connecting all the dots, I guess. Are you able to get inside the garage, like just tour it, or are you able to?
If you're invited to a Green Lake Association event where they utilize their garage,
Yeah.
Okay.
we were there for a private birthday party.
Okay.
And then this 2008 open house. So the first floor is the museum these days where they have things up on the wall. And the turntable's still there. The two bowling out lanes are in the back, are still there. I don't remember about the billiard room.
Yeah, that was probably closed off.
Yeah.
But I could comment that those bowling alleys are not like today's bowling alleys, but still effective. And they were popular back then. Ford had one in his house too,
Yeah.
In Dearborn.
in Dearborn.
Yeah. Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
I think at Fairlane,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think they're restoring the house currently. They've been doing that for a few years. So I'm not sure. We took a tour of it when I was working last fall, and they had a great deal of it restored, but it was still very much in progress. So I'm not sure if they're gonna if they had gotten to the bowling alley yet, but I'd be interested to see that. I don't know. I can't imagine living in a house that's so big that you have a billiard room and a bowling alley and all these other things, but you know, and that's just the garage. Yeah, that's true. All right. Well, yeah, so if people have or want to go visit the Flanders area, that's on that address, and it's just a few miles away. So be a nice drive. If the museum's not open,
Yeah.
it'd be a nice drive.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do go, remember to be safe, you know, practice social distancing as much as you can. All right, well, if those are the last questions and comments, okay, we do have a couple more questions, sorry. Let's see. Do you know if the Green Lake Villa has that open house you guys went to in 2008? Do they have it every year, or was that just a special event?
So that was a 100-year anniversary, and there's an EMF club with EMF club car owners, and they were, I think, going on a trip around the United States, or probably to Flanders locations, maybe all in one day.
Okay.
So when we were there at the clubhouse, they just stopped there for a couple of hours, and Dr. William Spencer spoke because he's the grandson and lives close by. And then they did this group photo, which I got from them, and it took quite a while to get up all the cars lined up and get this great shot of them. And you can see they didn't even all fit. So that was a once in a lifetime thing. You'd really need to talk to the Green Lake, somebody who lives in Green Lake Association. I just haven't been able to communicate with them. So it's a local lake association that just happens to have that for their clubhouse.
Okay.
Lucky them.
Yeah, yeah. Let me see if there's let's see if they have a website.
They do.
Yeah.
And yeah.
All right, so I'll post this website here. I hope that's the right one.
Yep, that is. That's
Okay,
it.
cool. All right, so yeah, you guys can check out that website. And Bill had mentioned a little while ago that maybe we should, when things get better, you know, we could have a meeting at that area, you know, maybe rent the clubhouse or something, maybe our 50th anniversary, maybe.
No, there's an idea.
Yeah.
I like that idea. We'll have to talk to them to see what they think.
Yeah, but maybe a special anniversary or something, maybe we could get over there, or maybe do a tour or something, a historical walking tour or something like that.
We'll have to see what they're interested in.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, well, I think if that's all of our questions and comments, we'll thank you, Rob, our newly promoted local historian. We appreciate everybody, you know, logging on this afternoon, and we hope that, like Gina said at the beginning, we hope to see you again. Our next presentation is partnering with West Bloomfield Parks. It's going to be this Tuesday, so in 3 days, August 11th at 7 p.m. You do have to register beforehand, and there's a little bit of a charge, but if you go to West Bloomfield Parks website or our website, there's a link to register, That's going to be Great Black Women of Detroit, partnering with Black Scrolls Network, Jamon Jordan. So we usually have a bus tour this time of year, but instead we're just going to do it virtually with Jamon. So if you guys are interested in that, go ahead and register, and we'll see you there on Tuesday evening. Our next event is going to be in September, so stay tuned for that.
And what's that going to be, Corey? Or let me just digress a bit. He'll be talking about Aretha Franklin, Rosa Parks, and some other people whose names I don't recall. So he always gives a great presentation. And what will be the September presentation?
So that is going to be with Christy Forehand. She's another one of our local historians. We're celebrating, this year marks the 50th anniversary of the West Bloomfield School District owning Apple Island. So we're going to have some footage and photographs from the island, and Christy's going to talk about, you know, the significance of our partnership with the school district, and some things that, you know, we've been doing on the island. So she's going to be putting together a little video presentation on that for September 13th. Let me double check that date. Yes, September 13th, 1 p.m. So same place, same time, just September 13th. So if you guys want to join that, we have a link up there on our website, and there'll be more information on social media and email. So stay tuned for those.
And then Jim Kraft will be speaking in September as well, probably through the parks. And if that didn't work, we would do it through us.
Yep.
And
yep.
his topic?
His topic is the 1877 history of Oakland County. I can't remember the exact title of it, but it's that.
Our history 100 years ago.
Yes, yes.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining. We appreciate everybody supporting us. Like I said, stay tuned on our website, and we look forward to seeing you guys again.
Thank you for watching. Please support Greater West Bloomfield Historical Society efforts at gwbhs.org. Thank you.